I go back and forth between hating and loving. Today I woke up from a dream. You felt so real to me, like I was walking through the clouds, and you had told me to tone it down. Well, if we disagree on what's important.
Welcome everyone to the Team Self-Love Podcast, a show about discovering your self-worth and helping you learn to love yourself because you're worth it. I'm your host, Lindsay Taylor Mitchell, and so basically, sorry, it's been kind of off and on with the podcast. We're still trying to figure things out because I started school again, and it's kind of been chaotic because I have to work and go to school, and then, I also act and model, so I've been doing that as well on the side and trying to get projects together. So things like that has just been kind of insane lately. So pardon the fact that we're not posting every week. I will also be having guests to talk about different topics, such as why self-love is important in long-distance relationships is one of them with my friend Daniel. And then my other friend and my director of my film, Adam, will be here to talk about why self-deprecating humor is actually a part of like our culture now for millennials, and how that really has kind of started us to have more self-awareness about the fact that we are having issues with our depression and anxiety. It kind of, even though it's joking, it does bring it to the forefront, which I think is a really interesting topic. So we'll be talking about that as well. But I just wanted to let you guys know with what was going on. Also, with our film Bliss, we did reach the budget for crowdfunding, so yay! So it means our film will actually be produced, which is very exciting because it can be very difficult to get money for independent films and whatnot. So to get that together has been so amazing, and thank you to people who have donated. We're so grateful for that. So that's in the process of being edited now. And yeah, just some exciting, fun stuff. I'm a theater major, I'm a drama major, so I've been taking a lot of different types of dramatic classes. Two of them being, one is theater and dreams, and the second is healing and performance, which is actually kind of what inspired me for episode 10, which is this episode, which we're talking about mindfulness and meditation. And I have a class, it's 2 classes, but it's 4 hours, but we don't just meditate for 4 hours. We talk about different subjects, obviously, because you can't just sit there and be like, oh, fuck, like just sitting there in silence for 4 hours for a class. just sat like that for by the way, if you're just listening to this, I just literally just sat there for 1 second, and just stared blankly. But yeah, so it's just been really exciting, and I just want to talk about that today. It's really important because it really keeps you present, and so the idea of mindfulness. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that. So first of all, before I meditated, I had a huge problem before in my life where I felt like I never appreciated what was going on, and I felt like I never truly lived in the moment. I think that part of that is social media, but then also just we have all these thoughts in our head, and we just get so consumed by what's going on. And sometimes we're in a situation and we don't want to be there, so then we just start thinking about something else. Or even sometimes we're in a situation and it's a good situation, but we're not even focused on it. We're just focused on, oh, I have to do this tomorrow, and I have a list of things to do, and man, I really shouldn't be doing this. I really should be taking care of like the fact that I need to go and run these errands. And you just start to, have this whole dialogue in your head, and you're completely distracted and taken away from what's going on, and you don't truly remember or appreciate. Don't appreciate it in the moment, but then you don't even remember what happened as well. I mean, I can recall times where I was at a specific event and I don't remember a lot about the event, or I don't remember really being present and enjoying the event and things that happened. And I never knew how to solve this. I just knew it was an issue, but I didn't know why, and I didn't know how to solve it. So how I got into meditating and mindfulness. So I took a yoga class. I had taken yoga class before, but then I took it at OCC. And Ashley, shouts out Ashley. She was my yoga teacher for 2 semesters. The second semester, it's more advanced, and we go over meditation, breathing exercises, and then meditating, and how meditation could help you. And so I had never done meditation. I'd heard about people meditating. And a lot of times when you think about meditation, you think about a monk just under a tree somewhere, staring off into the distance and not doing anything else for multiple periods of time. Or you think about like shows where they joke about meditation and they're just sitting there and you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, what are they doing? And it seems like such a complex thing, and or like something that not a lot of people do, but it's actually what it's doing is it's training your mind to focus on different things. So when our teacher was like, just meditate a few minutes a day, either in the morning or at night, she said morning is better, try that. So I started to do that, and then I realized I was happier, I was more aware of what was going on, I had less I would less like try to speed through things. Instead, I would just actually like take the time to go through the process of things. And that's why I like yoga as well, because yoga, it's not about getting from point A to point B. It's about the process of it and actually like enjoying the step that you're on. And I think that's great about life as well. We just are in such a rush and we don't appreciate what's going on at the moment. So with meditation, I started to do this, and I'm going to talk about different types of meditation, but I did single point meditation, which is when you focus on one specific either item or element or image, and you meditate to that. And so you can have an idea of why you're meditating, which is there are many different forms of meditation, but why I wanted to meditate and the reason why I was meditating. So, and that's how I got into it, and it was really great, and I felt really confident. And I meditated to fire, and so a video of fire, the image of fire, and how that would give me power and make me feel like a fire, because fire is destructive and it can ruin things and just has this immense power, but yet it has light and it can provide guidance to people and it can be this bright source. So the duality of fire was what I focused on, and so I meditated to that. So so different types of meditation. The first one was a single point meditation, which I talked about. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be an image of some kind. And what you do is you just focus on it and you clear your mind of everything else and you go back to it and you focus on that item or that thing. And the thing with meditation is you will always, always get distracted. But that doesn't mean you're bad at meditating. And everyone always thinks that they're bad at meditating because they think, oh, I can't focus and then I'm over it. No, you have to keep doing that. It's just meditation really at the end of the day. It's just learning how your brain works and learning about the thoughts and what thoughts you think. And, okay, well, I'm sitting here and I'm meditating and I'm thinking, oh, I really want to I'm getting really itchy and I really need to scratch my neck. And learning that, okay, my brain is trying to distract me right now from meditating. It wants to think things. It wants to focus. Okay. Man, I really should be doing my homework instead of doing this thing right now. Instead of meditating, why am I meditating? Okay, breathe, let that go. It's just seriously going back to that state and just using your breath to meditate and using your breath to get back to that point of meditation. The second one is this idea of compassion meditation, which is what you do is you visualize or think about someone that you know that's suffering. This is something I'm learning in my healing and performance class, which is amazing. And what you do is think of someone who you know that is suffering and someone you love or someone you care about. And then what you do is you visualize them And every time you breathe in their suffering. And every time you breathe out white light and compassion to them. And so what this is it's training you how to take in their suffering, or like learn how to empathize. Oops, my bad. Sorry guys, my alarm went off. Learn how to empathize and give that compassion out. And what it is it's teaching you how to be more compassionate towards others, because it helps to focus on someone else rather than yourself. But then thus you learn how to be more compassionate for yourself. And if you do experience that same thing, that same trauma, then you learn how you can process it and deal with it as well. Another point of meditation, another one of meditation like types, is this one where it's teaching you how to kind of compassion as well, but it's teaching you how to be kinder towards the people that you don't like. So what it is like, it's think of someone, it starts off with like, think of someone you love, think of them like happy, think of them in a good point, think about how you care about them, and then think about someone you hate, think about them happier, try to make yourself want them to be happier. And it's just trying to treat yourself to be more understanding, because although a lot of people have every right to hate certain people. And I think that there are a lot of bad things that people do. Harboring that negative energy and that hate towards someone can really affect you, and it can really hurt your soul. So learning how to at least maybe get to a point where you're a little apathetic towards them, even, or learning how to like let go of that hate, or how to like process, not think about it as much, I guess, that can really help as well. So that's another one. But the main one I think is the best one, which is just meditating. It's just regular plain OG meditation, which is just honestly learning how to be present. And the thing about that is, which I had written down about how, you don't have to be on a hill somewhere or at a beach or by a lake in order to meditate. You can be, I have done this in the Apple store at the Genius Bar because I'm so just bored because I have my phone because it's broken, and I'm just sitting there and I literally just breathe and focus on my breath, and then you just listen to what's going on around you and just learn how to be present and how to take in the moment and what's going on. And so what it does is you're learning how to have soft focus with your gaze, but also your hearing. And a great way to describe that is you think about the idea of traffic, and you think of cars passing by, and you don't really watch a car, you just kind of see the cars pass by. And that's also how you think of like a thought that passes by. It's just like, okay, well, there it goes, there's a thought. Or you could think of a thought as a cloud. And so you have your thought and you have a cloud, and then you just kind of let it dissipate and let it go. And yeah, so learning how to be more present. And so what you do is you soft focus. So you focus on one specific thing. And then what you do is you like lessen your gaze. And so what it does is it opens your peripheral vision. And then also learning that you're not seeking, you're not trying to listen, you're letting the sounds come to you, which I think is really interesting. And so that way you learn how to be more present. It's not about going inside yourself and being inside your head and disassociating and just not being present. It's about, okay, I'm trying to be present right now. And learning that your brain, what happens is your mind is clear, but your brain is thinking these thoughts and kind of puts them into your mind, and your brain is trying to tell you a story. It's trying to think of thoughts. It's trying to keep you busy instead of having a clear and stress-free mind. It's putting all these thoughts into your head. And so you need to think, okay, well, I need to focus. No, I'm going to focus right now. And you also learn how to process thoughts better, because a lot of times with many of us, and I know with me still, I'll have a thought and then I react to it and I let it take a hold of me and I let it affect me, and I have this emotion immediately instead of taking the thought and processing it and then learning how to emote from there. So, because honestly, the best thing my teacher ever told me was, not every thought you think needs to be thought, and every thought you think needs to be important. We have thoughts, and sometimes they just don't matter. It's kind of like your brain is just thinking this thing, and like self-doubt. It's okay, well, I look really bad today. Oh, no, fuck it. I'm not gonna think that. That's dumb, brain. Stop trying to make me think that I look bad. Like, it's just learning which thoughts are important. And when my teacher first told me this, I got very overwhelmed, and I actually was like, okay, so what thought do I think? And like, how do I do this? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And I started to get so overwhelmed and overanalyze everything. But he said, you could have multiple thoughts, or you can, for example, you could have love and you can have hate. They're two different types of thoughts, right? They're two different types of dogs, and they're fighting each other. Which one will win? Which one do you feed? Are you going to feed love? Are you going to keep thinking those thoughts of love and those thoughts of happiness? Or are you going to keep thinking those negative thoughts? Are you going to keep feeding that dog, and that dog's going to win because you're putting so much more emphasis on these thoughts? And also this can be very useful when it comes to, trauma. And this is why I think meditation is so important. Not only for the fact that you appreciate what's going on, but also if you've been suffering from emotional trauma, from depression, from anxiety, from any type of, any disorder or, PTSD, things like that, you actually can learn how to let go of these moments and how to process and how to learn to be more present and mindful. Not that those emotions are not true and like you feel them so intensely, but you can learn how your brain works and how you process thoughts and how to sort of change your brain. Like I said in the first episode of rewiring your brain and learning how to think, okay, I'm not going to think that way. I'm going to have more positive self-talk. And it's so helpful, honestly. It's so great because of the fact that you can deal with your issues. And it can be difficult at first in the sense that sometimes you either want to go to sleep or you have monkey mind, which is what, nonstop thoughts, and you have to keep going back every 10 seconds. Or sometimes you have an emotional response, but that's because you're not as busy and you're not having all these thoughts and you're not thinking of 1,000 things a minute, and so you're stationary and you're present and you actually have to deal with your emotion. But in that way, it can be a great sense of healing and moving forward with your issues and actually addressing them, which honestly is the best way to live, because then you're done and then you're healed and then you can move forward instead of just delaying the inevitable and delaying your pain, which only makes it worse because you're just repressing it. Repressing it. That sounds kind of fun. Sounds like juice. Repressing it, and all you're doing is delaying the inevitable, basically. And so another reason why it's really great, besides those two things, besides the emotional, healing and being present, is you enjoy pleasure more, which honestly is the best thing. So any pleasure, like eating, drinking, sex, like whatever it is, you feel more present, you feel more in the moment because of the fact that you meditate instead of being so worried about things, oh, is this going to make me fat? Or, oh, I really shouldn't be drinking right now. Or, oh, did I drink too much? Should I drink more water? Or, oh, like I shouldn't have drank. I have a term paper due tomorrow, or things like that, instead of actually just focusing and being there. And an excellent, example of this was I went to a wedding, and it was the best wedding ever, by the way, because it was so non-conventional, and I was like, oh fucks yeah, this is my dream wedding here. So what it was is they actually did a moment of mindfulness, which I think was absolutely excellent because of the fact that you're going to an event, you're going to a wedding, everybody's so concerned about what's going on. everyone. I mean, people who are attending the wedding, you're going to the wedding, you're in a rush to get there. You're like, I hope I look okay. I like spent all this time gluing eyelashes to my face and putting on this damn dress. And, I have to be there on time and whatnot. The bridal party's focused on the fact that they need to be there and they're trying to help the bride, or the groom is concerned of, okay, I need to make sure I know my vows. The minister's like, okay, I need to make sure I'm clear and I warm up my voice and I sound okay. And everybody's just so overwhelmed with their own thoughts and their own issues. They're not truly like enjoying the present moment or really thinking about what's going on. That past mentality, you're bringing that in, that chaos into this event. And so what they did was they had us all sit there and they said, we're doing a moment of mindfulness, and they had us all close our eyes and just be quiet and just listen. And it was a guided meditation, which is another type of meditation. It's just like kind of the beginning of someone telling you kind of the steps. They said, we're here. It's okay. We're all here. This is where we are right now. This is where we need to be. We're here to celebrate the love of these two people. And it's going to be a great wedding, and let's all give them our love and our attention and our compassion. And honestly, I felt like that was the most amazing wedding, because I felt that we were all focused on what was actually going on instead of the 5,000 other things that were happening before the wedding, or that were going to happen, or that were happening and you were just thinking about it. Instead, we were actually completely present as a group of people, and I felt like it made the experience far better. So I think that in that case, it just really helps you. It also helps you rest as well. I actually have nightmares, and it gets to a point where it's really bad actually. I like scream and run away, and I've like taken a pillow and beat my wall and just gone ape shit on everything, because my mind is just having these nightmares and these recurring nightmares, and I can't rest, or I'm thinking about too much, and then I go to bed. And instead what I do is I meditate before I go to bed, and I make sure I keep my eyes open when I meditate, but what it does is it sort of clears my mind and gets me to a more calm, more present state, and then I try to go to sleep after that, and it can really help clear my dreams, but then also clear my, myself. And they say, you always say, oh, I went to sleep upset, but like I woke up in the morning feeling refreshed, and I've never felt that way. The way you go to sleep is the way you wake up, and it's also going to affect the way you sleep as well. Like how you fall asleep. So how you fall asleep, it can affect your dreams. It can affect what you think about in your subconscious when you're asleep, but then also it affects you when you wake up. You take that negative energy and you start the new day with that. And so it's better to end the night on a more positive note, and learning maybe how you can meditate and process what happened if you have a bad night. It can really help you. So 3 ways you can meditate. The first one was the one that I learned in my yoga class, which was a 3-step process, which was yoga, breathing, and then meditation. So you do like a few minutes of yoga, and then if you're a yogi, shouts out my yogis out there. If you do yoga, and then what you do is you do different types of breathing exercises, and then you go into meditation. Sorry, I gotta take a water break. So that's all 3 of the yogi. Just 2, which is breathing and then meditation. There are different types of breathing exercises you can do. For example, there's one you breathe and you count. You breathe 1, 2, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one you could use your fingers, which also I don't know why, it's very calming. But you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way as well. You can do one, which is the one that I do, which I fucking love, which is what you do is you for those who are listening, you close your left nostril with your thumb, and then you breathe in. and you actually close both your nostrils with both hands, or your hand, and then you open your left nostril and close your right nostril with your other 3 fingers or 2 fingers, your pointer finger and your middle finger, and then you breathe out, and that's one. And you go through and you do that. And so going back, that's just, that whole cycle is just one breath. And so you do that about 6 or 7 times, and just focusing on your breath will get you into meditating. Or you can just go into meditating. The first step is just, fill the space, feel comfortable where you're sitting, sit on a pillow, find a specific spot to meditate, and just kind of sit there and enjoy the present. And then, focus on your breath whenever you have an issue. And honestly, this is for everyone. Whenever you have an issue, whatever it is, just focus on your breath. I swear to God, it helps me for so many things, and I know that it's helped multiple people before. My yoga teacher actually witnessed a car crash, and she knew that the person that was in the car crash wasn't going to survive, and she actually kind of was there to console them. And what she did was she took a moment and she focused on her breath, which really helped her be centered and calm, because she could have freaked out. And then she was there to comfort this person when they passed away. And so if you experience, a panic attack trauma, if you experience, if you're feeling very depressed, if you're going to have a mental breakdown, if, you're just having a hard time, whatever, you can breathe and focus on breathing, and then it can seriously help you. One that helps reduce anxiety, which I have used when I was having so much anxiety. I was working, and it was my first time serving, and I wanted to have a freaking panic attack. I was just freaking out. I couldn't handle it. I went to the corner, and you breathe in, breathe in for 6 seconds, breathe out for 3. You always do half the amount. You exhale half the amount of time that you've breathed in, and it's actually does reduce your anxiety. So if you are having a hard time, that is something that you can do. And that's why the breathing meditation, mindfulness, is so important. So yeah, a few things as well. There are guided meditation apps. There's things online as well. There's YouTube videos, which I'll link on Tibetan Buddhism, which is the one more about just being present and mindful. But then there's also guided meditation. I think guided meditation is very useful, but I don't think that you should really use it in the beginning, but after that, not use it as much, because then it kind of has a hypnotic sense to it, and then you just kind of focus on the person's voice instead of actually, meditating yourself, but learning the steps and the guided way to do it. And so Headspace, this podcast is not sponsored by Headspace, but I love Headspace, is a great app as well. You get 10 days free, and it actually shows you about guided meditation, which is the one that it talks about traffic and how you can learn how to focus your mind and your thoughts. And it kind of shows you about, you're not trying to listen, but letting the sounds come to you. And it's very useful, very effective. It's this British guy that's the narrator, and it's amazing because his voice is really nice and calming, and you're like, okay, let's do this. You can also, in the beginning, if you want, you can listen to sounds, although I don't recommend that. There are different things that you can do, and I'll always link that below. But I just wanted to address this because I'm having a class on it, and it's just so important to me, and I really think that it can be very useful. And I don't think it's something that you personally have to share to everyone. And people make fun of people who meditate, and they think it's so dumb and so stupid and it's not useful. But you could seriously just sit there and be quiet and really focus on the present, and that's meditating. And like I said, I did it at the Apple Store. I've done it at different restaurants before. I just sit there and just kind of breathe and focus on my breath and kind of process and take in what's happening. And that's your own personal journey, and it can help you process things if you have a hard time dealing with your emotions, and you're depressed or you're having anxiety. It can just help with all these things, and I just think it's very useful. And at least just give it a try. Be open to it. Be open to experiencing something different, and if anything, it could help you stay more present and be happier. So why not? Why not give it a try? If you can be happy, why, if you're thinking, oh, well, how can I be happier? Like, how can I change my life? Why don't you just give it a go? Just try different things out, see what happens. You never know. So yeah, that's basically this episode 10. I can't believe it's already been 10 episodes. It's been amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting the podcast. I will be updating the website as soon as possible. There'll be more blog posts out, I promise. It's just been kind of crazy with school and whatnot, and trying to write that as well has been kind of hard. But yeah, tune into our podcasts. They'll be every few weeks now with school. I'll try to balance it and try to figure it out. Life's about balance, everybody. Just doing the best I can. Also today, I had this moment where I thought, you know what? Self-love can be simple, because it doesn't have to be luxurious. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It could just be like, hey, what's up? I'm going to become someone who loves themselves. Not even you are, but becoming. And I was like, hell yeah, I got to share that with everybody. Thank you so much to Melissa Schiller for her song, Do or Do Not, There Is No Try, which is off the album Misunderstandings, which you can find on Spotify. Thank you so much to Ernie for the sound and the video. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode about mindfulness and meditation. Just give it a try. You are worthy of love, acceptance, and happiness. Never, ever, ever forget that. And I love you, but most importantly, you love you. Thank you so much for listening to the Team Self Love podcast. Bye, guys.
What's important to you or me? I will try soon to come.